name is Jessica Holyfield, and I'm a professional dance choreographer and dance educator based out of the southeast of the United States, and we are here taking a look at Young Posse's Macaroni Cheese. This is their debut, I do believe, and this is also a Patreon request, so shout out to Chris for the request. Now, Chris has been feeding all of us with some Young Posse content, so thank you. Thank you for recommending this. I'm excited to dive in, and I think without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get into it. So they've had this guy in their music videos for a long time.
Macaroni pasta and a cheese sauce. More commonly cherry sauce. Macaroni cheese, I got macaroni cheese. Macaroni cheese, I got macaroni cheese.
Oh, that was a fun.
Flow so pepper that sucker just hit it up. Dripping on my body, wouldn't tell cheese hit it up. What you mean is no 맛이란 말에 don't just make it up. 그러고 먹지 easy peasy 이미 너네 입으로 yeah. Macaroni ever try
Ooh. I liked how they used that to rotate. Ooh, I'm actually a little cold. It's giving Katy Perry. Oh, those are some really, really dope music video cuts. Like, that was really dope cuts right there. Now they're, what is it? Magic School Bus is what that reminds me of. Bye. That's funny. That's funny.
감사합니다.
감사합니다.
Yum 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 yum. Yum yum yum.
Is that their album cover? That was a good cut. With a microwave, yep. I'm shocked they didn't get sponsored by a mac and cheese company. This is a perfect opportunity for Kraft to come in hot here. Okay, I did hear, now I'm recalling when this came out. I have a feeling this song was potentially under fire for their age and the potential double meanings that some of their lyricism could bring. But I want to hear more so from you guys. I can't do a quick. I'm not able to do a quick Google search at the moment. But I would really like to know a little bit more info on that and what ended up happening with that too, because I don't know enough of the verbiage and they don't have English translation for me to really know what they're saying, so I can't go off of that, and I don't technically know how old they are here either. So yeah, so just let me know that. I like the vibe of their pocket a lot. I think out the gate they're set up pretty well in terms of how they're choosing to groove through their movement. It's really nice. So I'm excited to actually look at this. Let's go. And is this the same company that Juanes is a part of? That's a very interesting Guada Guada variation. interesting. I'm looking at their movement, and they are way more refined nowadays than here. I'm excited to talk about it because I've seen XXL and ate that at this point. Ooh, ice. Nice. The syncopation is really fun on the footwork. Like, such a vibe. Nice. We'll call him. The rebounds were cute on that with the arms. I love they have the sound of a microwave in the freaking track. Come on. It's eating, get it? Cool. That's cool. I mean, we're here for that. All right, here we go. From the top, we are going. So right here, I like the crossover on their bevel. It really creates such an extroverted angle, doesn't it? I really like it. Super dope. And then, of course, with the arch in the back and everybody placing their hands with their palms, with their fingers facing down, that does create a different look, as you see here. I like that we have one of our members. She goes down. She's bowing, welcome to the craft. What would you like? Mac and cheese, obvi. I like the little heads on that, which is fun. So they go with the head first, and then they use the shoulders, and then they choose to build it with the arms, and then they speed change the arms. So I like how we're building and traveling it down. She has her moment. She does a swing, and I like that her swing of her arms on our feature over here on stage right caters to what their swing on their leg is, which is really cool. And so they go up, then they end up not locking the knee, but keeping the knee kind of where it needs to be in order for that swing to happen, to make it very clean and readable. And then from there, it looks like we're shopping for some Kraft mac and cheese, which is nice. I mean, come on now. Now, do I actually eat mac and cheese? As an American, I know I may give a disappointing answer. No, I do not eat mac and cheese. I was a fan when I was really, really young, but I personally don't anymore. And it could just be a pasta thing. I'm not a huge pasta eater really as much. I'm a soup connoisseur. So like, I like the texture to a certain extent. It's not my vibe. The macaroni actual noodle, I prefer angel hair pasta. So if you put that on cheese, maybe I'll eat it. So it ain't macaroni, it's angel hair cheese. I don't know. That don't sound as good, right? Anyway, but it's fun. So right there, I like the little dig back on that too. It's really nice to see. They turn in, but what's really interesting is in this dance practice, you can tell that some of their weight shifts in the beginning section, they don't feel as refined. Now, of course, in the music video, yes. And I bet you the choreo video may also showcase really nice, clean lines. It's cinematic. You're able to get the best shots. But in a one take, you're going to make mistakes. It really does feel that they have a lot of really good overlapping movement quality. They were already set up for success here in that sense. And then with 8 that and XXL, I love XXL actually. It's a really, really cool vibe. I think it just looks more polished. I think they're more well settled into the pocket that they're pursuing conceptually. And so that's honestly a really cool thing. It's not like a true marathon, but a low-key kind of is if we're thinking about it, because this is my third one and I operated backwards. I went through the most recent and now we're at debut, and that's the difference on clocking here, which is a really natural thing, right? So I would say the reset there, like this macaroni and cheese, so we dropped down to a little guada guada variant, which I kind of mentioned before, but notice like their range and their torsos were a little off on that, and that's just what I'm clocking there. But they were able to get the legs pretty clean, which was very interesting. Then it goes macaroni and cheese, and the subtleties, so they have a lot of tension speed changes, and then they accent with the hip to make that kick happen. And then it goes K, boom, 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 boom. So I like the footwork on that, which is really nice. And then from there, they take the arms down, they present up. So connection to the head, some are choosing side, some are choosing back. It's very subtle, but that does change the look on it ever so slightly. Actually, just kidding. One of the girls has blonde hair and it looked like her hand was on the side. Everybody had it in the back. Really nice. Then from there, a little clap there. And I like the trace to have it do a little drop down, which is cool to swing up. And then we have some, like, we're actually like licking the cheese off of our hands, like the artificial cheese, right? So I can see, like, with the whispers, with the drop, some of the choices can come across if they are really, really young and they are dressed. Thank you for that. I don't know. It really just comes down to, is there innuendo involved in the track? Because if there is, that would be my point. Informed versus uninformed consent on things. Agencies do have a responsibility to really advocate for somebody, especially when they're really young. I'm not a huge fan of minors debuting in general, just because they're always going to be subject to public opinion. And for me, I feel like it's already hard to do in general as an adult. So like as a child, I feel like we can wait a couple years and introduce slowly into that field. But, you know, they didn't ask me my opinion. So I'm always going to feel that way. Even if somebody's really well familiarized in the scene, I do think about, like, there's a lot of responsibility in adults that I hold adults to a really high standard on being responsible for people whenever they are mentors or they are representing minors, if that makes sense. So, but once again, I don't know the extent of the details, so I'm not going to tie too much into that moving forward. But I just want to let you know, like, that is something that is crossing the mind right now. Like, I could possibly see it. So it goes pop it with the accent with the forearms, and they move it over to the side. I like her transition out. I think she took the more solo approach, and everybody else transitioned out to stage left, which is cool. So they hit over 1, 2, 3, and 4. So they even syncopated the walks. Click, 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 which is nice. And they turn. I like the little 3-step turn, and then they're traveling over God's green earth. Goodness. And then from there, they end up reversing it, so she has her movement there, like she hits, and then from there, she's not seeing what's going on in the spacing, but I bet you she can clock it on the side to kind of get a peripheral idea. It's kind of what that looked like to me with the mirror, but she dips down. I love that fullness there. If you saw Whiplash with Espa, you saw this really big dip up, which is really cool. I like seeing the hinge on that, and I love that everybody's there tilting up. It matches the feature with everybody else, and then you have another member. That's a really fun little gimmick there. It's playful. I like their lore is about food. I think that's super dope, and now we've entered into the Grand Theft Auto era. That's so unhinged to me, and I think that's such a vibe. Anyway, so they have their arms placed here. I think it's like, what? Something along those lines. We have our arms over it, hit it. So this does match very similarly to that beginning course that we saw. So she goes, yeah, talking about the mouth, I'm assuming there. And then it goes up, and then they go twinkle, twinkle with the fingers, and then you have a new feature coming around. I do think a subtle level change could have been really helpful to help us really see her a little bit more clearly, but that's such a preference thing. That's not really a note. I love this. Yeah. Just the angle and having it shift around. It does look like we're serving mac and cheese. And that's why I like the angle, and it matches what she's saying. Yeah. It's subtle. She goes, what? Okay. Then you have two of them go to the outside, and they dip that head forward, which is really nice. They present, and then we go dip. And I like the chest is involved on that. Yeah. And they just bend the knees to make it go lower. And they go to the front. And then we have a nice little hop, different transitions on that, where they hop to a different spot in the formation. And then she goes in, and I like the little pull up on that. So a lot of little bevels, a lot of little bends in the hips, and shifting of weight to help create certain looks and postures, which is really nice. And I like that we're keeping a little feminine posture involved. Gimmicky, unhinged, like I said, just like we saw in the very beginning. From the jump, it's been feeling that way, which is really cool. And then I like the swing with the arms as we rotate around. And then we end up doing a little sturdy or shoot kind of influence vibe to finish up that transition. Then you have the doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. So catching that at the end of the phrase was really cool. They caught it, and then they end up creating another speed change. So that's kind of our fingerprint we're going off of here, is that feminine posture, a lot of hinges involved, some weight shifts in our bevels, and a lot of speed changes going and syncopated footwork. So that's, to me, like, that's pretty dope for a debut, if I'm being honest. Like, that's really cool. Love it. Then it goes macaroni and cheese. So it goes, so with the speed change, it's fun. And then from there, we go into a nice big rock and bounce. And I like how she takes her finger over and the head goes to match it. Really nice. Then they pull it up. Subtle head ISO on that before we go and reset over. We lift up. I like the lift into the passe on that. And then it goes up. Really nice angle. Look how clean that is. It's like that arm is all sticking out of everybody's head really well. And then they're eating there. It's just another different way to eat. Come on now. Then right there, it's like a little cat daddy set up there. Then they pick it up. And then they're doing just a little rev with the wrist on that to create a really fast transition out of it. Then she drops down, nice level. They take the clap, then it goes freeze. I like how one of them goes freeze, like Frozone is fun. She goes, look very cute on that side. She goes, ice, come on now. To the front she points, and then we have this is more reverbed on that tail in there. Yeah, it was fun. And then we rotate around. Elbow is placing where it needs to be, and then they rotate it up and around, which is cool. Then we pull it up, which is also nice, and we go dig and it dig, and as it goes boom boom in your mouth. Okay, I'm assuming mac and cheese on that. And then right there, I like that we take the pattern back to the other way. So there's a lot of staging in this composition. That's like part of the battle is your transitions, which I'm really glad we have fixed cams when choreo does have your transition as a priority. Like when I'm telling you their staging has them all over the earth, that is what is happening. Like they're not hanging out in center. For your feature, sometimes they're hanging out over in downstage where you have all your dancers or your members going in the back, and it's just, oh man, it's really nice where they're maintaining really decent spacing considering the amount of transitions and the timing of their transitions, and incorporating syncopated footwork and upper body polyrhythms. Like it's really well done in that sense for sure. They pull in, boom, yeah, and I do think they use their back and their a little bit more nowadays than they used to here. It does feel very extremity heavy, meaning that we're not really channeling our back as much to create more power in our choices, but the choreo does set them up quite well for where they are. It's really, really nice. Yeah, da-da, but over. She hits it over, so they all are like, oh, run. Like, that's fun. Like, that's fun. They're not taking it seriously, and so it allows me to enjoy it. And by seeing people find like enjoyment in what they're doing in a choreo like this, it allows you a subtly more grace to extend when you're like, oh, is that like for fun? They made a mistake. It made it feel more gimmicky in a good way, if that makes sense. So in general, I like the framing at the top when she was down below. I like the level choice on that. It was cool. Created fullness there. So she does a nice little hop on that. And like the little right there by the head is fun. I think she's my twin, right? We're the one with the puffer on XXL. Yeah, I never matched somebody as much as I matched her. Man, that was fun. So she hits it, boom, with the throw. Come on now. And then I like the driving. Do you see what I mean? There's like little marking gimmicks that are happening in the extras members energy on that, which makes it fun, and it makes me not take it as seriously, which I think allows there to be more grace whenever you do see mistakes, right? It's fun. I like the little trot on that is really nice. And the little accent on the elbow is also super cool. The little pony. And then with a nice little pickup on the feet. Yeah, so it goes 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And then we walk it forward. Now this little, what does that remind me of? I feel like Sala has done something like that. But anyway, I like how we're twisting. So in order to do this move, you want to have your heel engaged, not engaged. What am I saying? Your weight goes on the heel and you end up twisting, and you are rebounding off of the opposing foot. So that is your standing leg. And so they end up doing that twice, right? Here we go. And 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, so the heel twist, placing the weight on the heel for that twist is what really helps, but also shifting the weight between the feet in your transition. And I like from there how we created a nice, just gimmicky box with the upper body. It's cool. It's dope. And then right there, they do a little twist. Let the hips be the accent for that, with the arms tailoring close to the hips, so it actually helps you clock it a little bit easier, which is cool. They said, come on, join the group again. She said, okay. Then they do a little reject on that, which is fun. And then they go DDD with a heel twist, syncopated, of course. And then I like the little accent with the head to boot on that. And we go kick, and we brush it and swipe it from the calf, and then we end up doing the same move, that pa, 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 pa. But having everybody together, they kind of cut it in half instead of doing a whole section on it like before, but it fingerprints ties back to the beginning of the phrasing that we saw in that section. And then from here, I like the swing. Like that hinge is that can be so awkward. But I like it because it kind of ties into the really aggressive arching in that crossed over bevel in the beginning. Like I really like the hinge on it. And everybody was similar in their actual angle, which made it very readable and very fun. They pull through, and then right here, they're using the opposing bounce with the lifting of the leg with the torso going low in order to make that feel like, oh, we're hunkering down and eating right now, which is really fun. And then they bring it through. Cheese, lift up, and then we go swing and cheese, macaroni and cheese, and then notice with the hip, macaroni, cheese, da-da, ba-da-da, and swing. And then we go swip, whip. And the whip, and the fact that this feels a little bit sharper and accented, it just goes up, pa, pa, that little clap sound, which is really cool. And we lift it up. And I like the two, and they look up at the two, so we see that subtlety. Because it would be harder to clock if they didn't do that, right? Because if they look down, we're going to look down, not up. So I like the fact that they looked up at it. It helped us signal as an audience, we need to look there too, which is cool. They said peace, and then they go right there to the knee, and it goes macaroni and cheese, and swing up. And then we have this little not peel down, but we're breaking this arm down just like we've done already before. As it goes ding, and I like that we have our two fingers up here. And then they go in, they turn, yeah, ding, like we're done. Easy bake oven, she goes knock, knock. And I like from there, they go from the column to subtle little triangle there. So you hit it, boom, you rotate it in cheese, which is also cute. Then we go into another little add-on. It's not even a V, it's just a letter M, which is cool. They hit it over. So it's very fun, conversational, pretty clean, which is nice to see. Then I like my center. She dips it in, just melts it center and allows it to kind of embellish across the chest, and then everybody tailors to their respective outsides. I also like the fact that they're wearing their own merch that says Young Posse. If you didn't know who we are, we're Young Posse. And they hit over, which is nice. And they hit it and they frame it, which to the side, which is nice. Then they rotate, allowing the forearm to kind of take that forefront energy there. They accent with the head. They hit, accent over to the side again. And they hit it over. I like the little brush to get into the straight line. The dig, really nice. Notice that they have a little body roll going on with the torso on that, which is really fun. It goes 1 and 2 and 3. Speed change again. And I like some of them shaking their head with the microwave sound. Featured, coming in hot. She takes it, rotates it. That wasn't quite the most readable thing. I know what she was going for, but I don't know if where they were in the line and how they rotated to the front read as effectively there. But that's such a preference thing. That's whatever. So now they're taking a little selfie. The little chest on that. Chest were just slightly off. So I do think the bookends of this choreo from where they were right here aren't as refined as that center section, which is pretty impressive considering I would believe the middle section has more transition demands where there's more potential areas to ruin the spacing or mess up the levels or mess up the angles that you're going for. But they nailed those pretty well. But I'm assuming these really, really dense bookends, the beginning and the end, aren't quite as like that crisp, refined that I do see them use nowadays with 8 that and XXL, which is really cool to see the progress already because I know they're a Gen 5 group, yeah, but I like the tension there. They lift up, and I like how they're putting it behind their ear, and then they swing it down. I like the inversion of the knees. They accent up. I like how they caught the base on that. They hit it over. I love that we have the different direction, and they lean away from it. It allows it to look more full and extroverted. Really nice. And they pull, of course, they had a little ball change reset there. Didn't quite feel as clean on that mac, and they clap, and then they pull whoom, across. I'm assuming that's the cheese part, right? Yeah, that's what I'm gonna assume. We're pulling the cheese anyway. But in a nutshell, I enjoyed this. This was a vibe. I think this was a really, really dope debut. I'm gonna safely assume, and I think that they've kept their concept pretty consistent, which to me, I like the vibes that they're doing. I do think there's a couple concepts that they have done that it's just interesting conversation that's happened in regards to fashion, to type of track, to type of influence, and the current culture or the historical culture behind their choices. That's been interesting to talk through. And so I'm very intrigued on the logistics on this era when this came out based on what I was mentioning, because that's what I remember when this came out. And that was honestly, I think, one of the reasons why I think it was them and New Jeans were known for being really young young, but I could be so wrong on that. And that's why I kind of refrained from watching them for a couple of years, but I wasn't really in K-pop that much at that time anyway. So yeah, so y'all just let me know your thoughts, and if there's any extra insight you want to give, I'm always open to being a listening ear, because I know Young Posse's not really going anywhere on the schedule. They'll probably be back for sure. Chris, thank you once again for this request. This was really fun. I enjoyed it. What a fun debut. Y'all know me, I know you. I'm Jess, and I will catch you on the flip side. Bye.